What's going on, everyone? So, as you guys already know, as you guys saw the skit in the beginning, it's been 20 years since Yu-Gi-Oh has been a thing as an entity. So I wanted to take some time out and congratulate Yu-Gi-Oh for lasting 20 years pretty much, because if it wasn't for the anime being a success that it was back in 1998 over in Japan, we wouldn't have the amazing card game we have now. So originally I was going to try to make this video more anime based and instead of more card game based. But right now I'm going to make it more card game based, go down the timeline of my history playing the game and everything I remember and how the eras have changed throughout the time. So if you guys like a little story time, this is it. Without further ado, let's begin. So, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monster. So this is pretty cool. So back in 2002, okay, in 1998, the Duel Monster era launched in Japan, and apparently it was a big success, which is why they brought it over here to America over in about 2000, 2002, give or take. I remember watching the anime first in 2002 because I bought the packs back in 01 when they first started, like late 2001 when they first started showing the anime. And man, I remember the anime being so crazy good. Reason being, as a kid, I was always into the Dungeons and Dragons and competitiveness of older animes like Beyblade and Dragon Ball Z, you know, going to tournaments and doing your own thing, and, you know, friends sticking together, all that weird, crazy stuff that we grew up on in the 90s. And I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh definitely has some input on a lot of influence on how a lot of us turn out to be, because Duel Monsters is just that. It was a group of friends hanging out about playing a game that they loved, which a lot of us did at the time. But specifically about the anime that stuck out to me, at least for memory concerns, the card game for Yu-Gi-Oh caused a huge frenzy that wasn't seen until Pokemon hit America. Now, a brief history on that real fast for you guys that grew up in the late 2000s or who were born in the late 2000s or early 2000s. Pokemon in the 90s was freaking lit. 1996, 97, 98, 99, Pokemon was crazy. Pokemon and Power Rangers was crazy. Everyone wanted to have Pokemon or Power Ranger, everything. The Pokemon cards, people went bananas over. And, you know, after it simmered down going into the 2000s, Pokemon was still a thing, but the card game wasn't. People collections didn't really gain value until later in the years, which is what you guys see now, like $300 for first edition Charizard or some crazy number like that. But when Yu-Gi-Oh rolled around and the game caused a huge frenzy, people was like, oh my God, it was the next Pokemon. And people were also saying Yu-Gi-Oh was satanic because it involved Egyptian gods and all that crap. And it was just like, oh my God. I remember a lot of religious Christians came out trying to say Yu-Gi-Oh is the devil. If I could find a news clipping, I'll have it right here. But man, the news was crazy for how Yu-Gi-Oh was represented back in the day.
Comic King North, Tony speaking. Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Yes, we do have boosters, but we're out of the starters.
It's the newest craze, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and if you can get your hands on them, consider yourself lucky.
They're extremely popular. Like, every kid on the block is like gobbling it up like it was a lollipop. And you can't get enough of it. You just have to have more and more and more.
They're based on a TV show that's got kids of all ages hooked.
Basically what happens in the TV show is like they do battle and then they pull out these cards and they always pull out like shing, and then they have a big zoom in image of the card on the show, and then the kids can see these cards. Now they want the cards.
They're collectibles and can be compared to the last fad, Pokemon cards, but some disagree.
It's bigger than Pokemon.
I just played Pokemon some years, and I think it's boring right now.
The game pits one creature against another in a card fighting game called Duel Monsters, but only one person can bear the title of Yu-Gi-Oh, the king of cards. And parents are puzzled by their kids' quest for the title.
They begged me to come and have a look. I don't even know if they're here though. It's kind of a strategy game that they play on a mat.
That's all most parents know about the game, and they're not alone.
Probably he has, but not me. No. Haven't heard of them? No.
The little ones sure seem to know it well.
Well, a dragon tries to swallow the guy. I think it's cool.
While the kids are playing with these, the only cards parents are left dealing with are credit cards. A starter pack for the game could set you back anywhere between $15 and $45. And while fads seem to come and go, store owners say we can expect to see much more of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the months to come. Aliyah Jiwan, CBC News, Edmonton.
Kids was playing in parks, kids was playing in schools. Schools was taking decks from kids. I remember I got my cards taken from my teacher, eventually getting it back at the end of the day. You guys know how that was back in the 90s, getting your cards taken. But yeah, man, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just a huge frenzy. And in the original era of the card game, it was just normal summon, pass. Normal summon, pass, easy flow tempo. And the game was really easy and simple to learn. And then eventually we got the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie, which we all kind of loved and hated. I mean, I personally read the Pyramid of Light book because I remember back then you got the exclusive Slifer the Sky Dragon, which was dope. And after that, we went into the GX era. So after that, we went into the GX era, and this is like 2004, 2005 for me. No, 2004, I was in high school around that time. And me personally, I liked Yu-Gi-Oh! GX for what it did. It was just a new era, took place in the future of Duel Monsters after Yu-Gi Say today with the Egyptian. Like, honestly, after like the Battle City arc and the Celery Calco stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just kind of, as the anime, just kind of just got boring. I mean, I'd rather watch things on the CW like Cubics and other cool animated shows like that. And TMNT was an amazing show. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle was OP as heck. But anyway though, then we got into, like I said, the GX era, which was more fusion based, and it was very similar to how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was as far as the simple game mechanics. You normal summon, you attack, a lot of easy one-for-one plays. Yu-Gi-Oh! The original era of the card game was mainly around beat-stick monsters beating down the opponent. Cards like Jirai Gumo was broken. Now you guys don't know about the Jirai Gumo. Back in 03 and 02, Jirai Gumo was amazing. Level 4, 2200 attack, beater. You had to flip a coin to attack, and I think if you hit tails, you couldn't attack. You ended your battle phase or some stupid stuff like that. Like beaters like Gemini Elf, Jirai Gumo, Legend was really good because he came in the starter deck. Injection Fairly, oh my god. Like cards like that was OP back in the day. Now they're like, yeah. And then Genzo was, I mean, I remember the Genzo era too. Genzo Call 100, broken plays right there, boy. So, but yeah, man, I'm sorry. This video's gonna be all over the place because this is just me going down my 16-year Yu-Gi-Oh! Memory lane. So if you guys want to hear a story time, it's like, what up? So the GX slowed everything down with the fusions. As far as, actually GX spared everything up. The anime-wise, GX was cool. As far as game mechanics wise, it just added a different element. And this is when I personally, and I know there's a lot of people started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! More competitively. I mean, the competitive scene was already somewhat big, but the GX era, I remember regionals at the time was like 60, 50 people. And this is when the competitive scene exploded. And you had people, I can't remember the decks. This is when GOAT format was a thing, and things were getting just super OP and kind of complicated because you had things like Blackluster Soldier. There's a lot of crazy shenanigans. The Chaos format, Invasion of Chaos, all the crazy shenanigans happened during the Fusion era. Overall, the era was not that bad. At least for me, it was pretty fun. I mean, it was kind of similar to now. If you don't have the OP cards, you can't win. So then after a while, I personally quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Tried to get back into it in 2008. I remember the Synchro era. I didn't play that era. One of the best eras for the game, apparently. But from what I was told, Synchro era was really good. One of the best times. I do remember Stardust Dragon and Black Rose Dragon being OP from that era. I do remember that. But I personally quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Era and hopped back in 3 years later into the Zexal era. So this is what I'm going to fast forward to then. Zexal era rolls around. Zexal era, XYZs. It was kind of like Fusion and Synchroing, but you didn't need a tuner and you didn't need a card to make your monster. You just pit the monsters together and boom, we got us the XYZ monster. Plays for days. I vaguely remember Tour Guide being 150 bucks because you can make things like that one Water XYZ. He pumps himself up for 2,500 attack. And then we had the wind up loop. I mean, the XYZ era, Zexal was pretty dope as well. Honestly, it was really fun. The only cancerous decks we had around that time was, let's see, wind ups. We had Dino Rabbit. We had Insectors. And overall, the era was still one for one plays mattered, but the game still kind of tried to trickle down to cancerous, because if you didn't once again play the OP decks, you didn't win, and if you didn't have the money to afford those $1,000 type of decks, you didn't win. But you could honestly during this time frame still play a rogue deck like Fire Kings with 3 skill drain and do well in the event. And I remember this era as well, decks like Heroes and Gadgets still reign supreme. Yeah, like I said, decks like Heroes and Gadgets still kind of reign supreme. Now going fast forward into the Pendulum Arc 5 era. The Pendulum Arc 5 era, personally for me, I forgot the set name. That era is when Yu-Gi-Oh kind of shake up for me personally. Reason being, it pretty much shifted the game from a one-for-one play to I can outplay my opponent, set up a pendulum board, and bring out my opponent who I just outplayed. They set up their scales, they bring everything back, screw my life, right? And this left a lot of bad taste in a lot of players' mouths, and a lot of players started to quit around this time. Now, the players quitting around this time, in my personal opinion, this is different from people quitting back during the Synchro era and even the XYZ era, because for one, during those eras, oh my god, Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna die, oh my god, it never died. This era actually changed the mechanics of how Yu-Gi-Oh is played. It changed the board on how Yu-Gi-Oh is played, because you added 2 extra zones that allowed your opponent to pretty much reanimate whatever was destroyed. It kind of forced players to play the new mechanic without forcing them to play the new mechanic. But we still had other decks to use, like I said, Heroes. Gadgets was definitely getting faded out. You couldn't really run Gadgets during the Arc 5 era, even though it was recent with the Pendulum era. And then, you know, it was this it left a bad taste in a lot of players' mouth, which is the reason why a lot of people say Pendulums killed Yu-Gi-Oh. Personally, do I think Pendulums killed Yu-Gi-Oh? No, but you know, at the same time, I can see why people didn't care for the Arc 5 era. Me personally, I didn't really care for it. It's one of them eras where it was like, it needed a neutering, and eventually we got that neutering in the most current era, the Link era. Few landmarks, points for the Arc 5 era. We did get the Great Wall of Yu-Gi-Oh over in Japan. It's one of them things they actually had. I have a picture on the screen right here where they took a subway and put every Yu-Gi-Oh card ever in the specific subway to promote the movie Dark Side of the Dimensions, which I did get an exclusive preview for on my channel. You guys can click.
A dimension duel. If your monster's destroyed, you don't take battle damage. You take damage equal to its attack points. Speaking of monsters, it's time to bring out one of mine. And as you can see, it's a looker. Feast your eyes on Vita, the cubic seed.
That video out right here and watch a little bit of the clip right here. Now, the Yu-Gi-Oh movie 2017, broken. I went to go see it. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of bored because I'm out of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Just doesn't appeal to me as an adult as it did when I was a kid. But it has some funny moments, like this one character was gonna get world starred. Anyway, long story short, the movie was but I had a good time because I went to go see it because I just had to go see it. It was one of the things I wanted to review for the channel, so I had to go see it. Now, fast forward to what we have now and how Yu-Gi-Oh is right now. So, I roughly touched on how Yu-Gi-Oh was in the beginning with the normal summon, and then it started to move up to a little bit more faster special summoning with the fusion. Then we hopped into synchros with the starting to speed up of the game. XYZ sped up the game even more. Pendulums just made the game a little more cancerous with the whole revival mechanic of pendulums just being naturally OP because they can keep reviving themselves, taking the one-for-one plays out of the game effectively, because let's face the fact, pendulum decks, you could just be outplaying the opponent, but because they draw their scale, they come back and win. Links now, Master Root 4. This is definitely a whole nother can of worms. There's a reason why Yu-Gi-Oh is getting reset via speed duels, but I'm gonna get to that later. Link summoning, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I didn't care for it. And right now, I still don't care for it. Reason being, I don't hate Master Root 4. Don't get me wrong. I can accept it for what it is. But it still just leaves a bad taste in my mouth for killing off the way the game is played. Now, granted, I believe they had to do this for 2 reasons. One, pendulums are OP, and obviously anything they make pendulum wise could just break pendulums. So eventually they're going to get back to their main supreme. And two, they want to sell product, because older decks do not mean they're going to sell product. They want the game to thrive. But the way they did it by forcing Master Rule 4 down our throats is ridiculous. And I believe the game has seen a big drop off because of it. Now granted, event numbers are still relatively high because the game is very popular, but there are a lot of people switching to other card games and excited to go to other card games because Yu-Gi-Oh! For the most part ain't the best card game to play. The luck factor in the game is extremely high for one, and for two, it just ain't what it used to be. It ain't moving with the times. I mean, prize structure is lackluster. I mean, there's a whole lot of things I can go into, but I don't want to talk about that in this video. But moving forward, I just don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Could last another 5 to 10 years. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Right now, I think the Link era is okay for what it is. I personally find it dull. But hey, that's just what it is. I mean, Links, as you guys already know, just link up everything and do what you got to do. So, where do I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Will be in the future? I mean, it did last 20 years, so they must be doing something right. Our business don't just last 20 years and die, even though a lot of them do. Me personally, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Moving forward for the future, it's going to be split into online everything. Meaning, Duel Links is going to be the future, and Speed Duels, I believe, is going to be an easier transition for two ways. Speed Duels is going to get more people who play Duel Links investing into the physical card game, and people who already play the physical card game investing into the Duel Links. So that way, moving forward, Konami can just easily transition everyone to an online format. Now, why would they want to do this? Because Konami deep down inside know Yu-Gi-Oh! Is complicated as heck to play. It's real it doesn't appeal to children as it once did. Now granted, a lot of people say kids play Magic, kids do play Magic, but Magic the Gathering is a whole nother can of worms, and the kids that I know that play Magic personally learned it from an older brother. Now, and because their older brother just on that geek culture. But now, as far as Yu-Gi-Oh! Pop culture wise, it's not popping. It's living off nostalgia. And Duel Links is a saving grace. So I think with the online computer, tablet kid, YouTube kid generation, it's going to have to be future online for the next 10 to 20 years. But this is just my prediction, and this is just my congratulations for Yu-Gi-Oh! Lasting 20 years as an entity. And I just wanted to make a video shouting out Yu-Gi-Oh! For lasting so long. And just reminiscing on my past and everything. Post your thoughts and opinions about this video in the comment section down below. Check out my Teespring. I got some new merch up. I got a cool shirt. Check that out. Purchase it if you're interested. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't. This is InnovationYGO, and I'm signing out. Peace.